Welcome back with the Design Duo here on a Wednesday morning. Today we're going to be talking about the real estate market and listing, selling your homes. We have the talented and super cool Kayla Ulschmid with Keller Williams Realty here with us today. One thing I want to say before we get started is that what I love so much about Kayla is, first of all, we went to college together. But also, she has created a complete branding for herself that I totally admire and I think is really cool. It's unlike any realtor's ever done as far as what I've ever seen. But Kayla is a huge fan of The Wizard of Oz, always has been. And so she has become and branded herself as the Red Shoed Realtor.
Yeah.
And so, Kayla, introduce yourself. Tell us how that all got started and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
First of all, girls. I have collected The Wizard of Oz since I've been 3 years old. I'm a really busy person, and I could never watch a movie like sitting still. And that movie I could actually watch. So
I never knew that about your business. That is so cool, actually.
thank you.
Yeah.
So I collect The Wizard of Oz. I have Wizard of Oz memorabilia, all kinds of crazy stuff, I guess, as far as that goes. And with that, watching The Wizard of Oz, being, a little girl growing up, I've seen the Munchkins with my dad, which is kind of bizarre, but kind of cool. Like, small little people.
Yeah.
And it was cool. We'd go see them 3 years in a row, and I enjoyed that. And as I got older, got my real estate license. This guy said we went to college together. And it's like, what do you do when you grow up? What do you want to be? I'm like, I'll sell real estate. We'll give that a whirl. So did that, and my mom said to me, like, how are you going to set yourself apart? There's like 250 real estate agents.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
What are you going to do, Kayla? I'm like, you tell me what I'm going to do. You're my mom. You might know. So she goes, well, you like The Wizard of Oz. Like, be yourself. How about you wear some red shoes? And I was like, well, what's that going to do for me?
Yeah.
And I said, she goes, be the Red Shoed Realtor and wear red shoes every day.
There's no place like home.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was
That
her.
is the coolest concept. I have no idea. As a little kid, seriously, I had to have my, Dorothy shoes taken away from me.
Oh, that's sad. You need
Because
a new pair
I
now.
wore them every single day. I wore them every single day. I wore them to school. I wore them to church. I wore them to my grandma's house. Like, those are the shoes that I wanted to wear. And that is so funny to me because I love The Wizard of Oz.
Perfect. Well,
So
what
that's
size
why
are you?
you always see-
Be careful. What
We
you
can
wish
share
for.
shoes.
I got big feet. I got size 10.
So you always see the
can
red
make it work.
shoes hanging off her real estate signs,
Yeah.
and she's always wearing the red shoes.
Yeah.
How many pairs of red shoes do you have?
Well, I get rid of some after I get tired of them and hang them on my sign. So I would say I'm probably at 50 some right now. I've gotten rid of a few.
Oh,
And
my
so is this a
goodness.
shoe red shoes? Is it red shoes every day?
Every day.
Everyday red shoes. Do we have other pairs of shoes like black, brown? Do we have
We
those?
do.
Okay.
We do, but I just tuck them in the closet because, as you know, as a business owner, you're a hardworking person working all the time. So, well, if you're in the grocery store, do you usually talk to somebody about real estate? Yep. Or, I don't care. I might have a purple shirt on and red shoes. I don't care about matching anymore.
Right.
Not what you guys want to hear.
She's like, full commitment.
yeah, it's a full commitment,
Yeah.
and it's really cool, and I admire that, and I think it's great, and you're super determined, and you're always just upbeat, and I think you do a great job, and you're always great at giving those extra gifts and going the extra mile, and that's super important in being competitive with other area realtors and other people in the market, and it sets you apart 100%. So one thing I also want to point out is Kayla's wearing a red shoed necklace today as well.
I love it.
I'm sure you just get a large amount of gifts given to you too, of red shoes and necklaces and things like that all the time.
It is fun. Clients will go, I have one gal from Grand Forks, and she sold her house with me, and she'll go thrifting with her husband and come back and be like, I bought you this bag of shoes, Kayla. I'm like, yes, this is so great.
We can hang them on all the signs.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Husband, get drilling, put the holes in them so we can hang them.
Exactly.
So we hang the shoes to set yourself apart on signs just because it's different. And,
Totally noticeable. Totally noticeable. I feel like people will drive by and it's like, oh, what are those shoes? And it's like, oh, look at this. Oh, who's this woman? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it stands out.
Perfect.
You can tell
Full
all her
circle. I
listings.
understand now. That's amazing.
Now you don't think I'm as weird when you drive past my signs.
No, and when I see somebody in the middle of Central Market with red shoes and purple shirt, I'll be like, my girl,
Yes.
I got it.
Yes, you look beautiful, and you have a design look. I look kind of weird with my red shoes, but that's fine. To each is their own.
No. So no place like home. Let's go into that for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
There is no place like home. And now more than ever, why is home so important?
Well, I think home is where your family is. It's your safe place. It's if you have kids, where you raise your kids. And it's just, you can be yourself at home.
And so now with Detroit Lakes Market, let's talk about the Detroit Lakes Market and the homes being listed, and let's talk about the do's and don'ts of what to do when you're preparing your home to be listed. Because
I feel like it's very
generally,
challenging for a lot of people
springtime-
to understand, like, what exactly am I supposed to do before I list my house? And it's like, generally there's like a couple things that come to mind for us too, but like from your perspective, I'm really curious to see what you have to say.
Right, because springtime's here.
Yeah.
And the majority of people will list their home in the spring because our summer season is so short. So some do's and don'ts, or some things that when you walk in that you want to tell people that they should change
Sure.
from a realtor's vision.
Yeah, my vision's going to be different than your guys'.
I know.
Sure.
So I'm like,
Okay.
All right. So my number one thing lately, it doesn't cost much to be clean.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, I come home and I'm like, is this the day I change my socks, or is this the day I can leave my socks on? You know, cleanliness.
True.
So first thing when I go into a home, it's bizarre. I look at the floor, like the entry. What does your rug look like? What do your light switches look like? Are they like dirty? Bugs in the light fixture?
Right.
So first of all, get your rug vacuumed when you first come in. That first curb appeal when you first walk in your door.
So that's like your first impression thing.
Yeah.
Would be like somebody's front
Your
area.
first foot inside of the house.
Literally. And then you just go from there. Like, you look into your kitchen, your dining room, and they're like, all right, like, you can see this is a clean home. Or, oh, we have some problems.
Like, there's
Right.
cobwebs up there in the corner.
And that's something that I personally look for too. Like when we've moved a few times and going into a home and being like, ugh, like you can feel when it's dirty. You don't even
Yeah.
have to necessarily see it, but you can feel it too. Or cobwebs up in the corners, and like you said, bugs in the light fixtures, and things that people should just go the extra mile to take care of if they're going to be listing their home. And they want it to sell at a premium price, like everybody does.
Everybody
So-
does. Absolutely. It doesn't, it costs nothing to be clean. I like that statement.
Right.
Yeah. What about you guys? What do
Well,
you
I think my first impression is like going to be smell. Like, you know,
Yeah,
you
I
walk
agree.
in, and cleanliness. I agree with that.
senses,
Making
for
sure it's
sure.
picked up. But I think smell is a huge thing. Everybody's home smells a little bit differently. So I think that's something that I would pick up on immediately.
That's a good one. Whether you have a cat or a dog or too much, you know.
Or haven't changed the litter box in a few weeks.
Ooh.
And then you need to change your socks, right? Because they're gross.
Yeah. Oh, the worst, talking about taking socks off, one second, is that you walk into a home that you're going out to measure, and it's in the summertime, so you got sandals on, you don't even have socks, and they want you to take your shoes off.
Yeah, take your shoes off. You're like,
And then you walk into the home and you got like stuff like sticking to the bottom of your feet, and you're like, oh yeah, like you can feel. That's like one of my worst pet peeves.
That's my pet peeve.
If
I
can feel
vacuum
stuff
all the time.
Sticking to my
I
feet,
can't
I'm
handle it.
just grossed out. So I should just bring a pair of socks with me and put them in my pocket. But of course,
or
who
get
remembers
shoe
to do that?
protectors.
Yeah.
Something
little
like that.
things.
Yeah, seriously, that'd be smart.
Okay, got something to add
Yep.
to that too. First thing I would say, all of this is wonderful. Yes, I totally agree with all of that. For me, it's like clutter. If you're going to list a house,
True.
buy a storage unit. If you're going to keep it, at least get it out of your house to where other people don't have to feel the chaos. I feel like it's something when you walk into a home, there should be countertops that don't have 500 appliances on them, or your bathroom shouldn't have your toothbrush with your toothpaste in your sink just chilling right there on the side. It should be more presentable than that.
Agree.
That's what I have to add.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got, Kayla? First impressions.
Window treatments.
Window treatments. Tell me why.
Oh my gosh.
That's interesting. Tell me why.
Sometimes they're bad.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like I've been into a property, it was listed and it didn't sell. And then they had me over to relist it. And I'm like, okay, like I have a little bit of a list for you. And to me, it sounds better coming from your real estate agent that you're working with versus a buyer's agent.
Right.
And I just explained to my sellers, look, we're on the same team. Like, so me telling you is going to be way better than we
Sure.
have a showing.
Yep.
So like, you know what I'm talking about, those crocheted.
Oh yeah, like the lacy curtains
yeah.
or the heavy, thick ones that are all wrinkled and don't let any light through.
Yeah, or the thick valances that you're like, what
The
is this?
valances. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big one. Like, let the light
So
in.
true. That can date something really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember going to the house and I'm like, we need to take those down. And I could see immediately the wife is like, oh, we shouldn't do this. Like, this is what I love. And I'm like, I know you love it, but not everyone else loves it.
No.
That's not what's really in style.
Wow. Yeah, I can see how people would be
That's a
like
really
slightly
good point.
offended by that because it's like they've lived this way for so long and this is their home and now they have to make that like mental divide. Like, okay, this is no longer what I like. This is something that has to appeal to everybody. You know, that's a huge one for sure.
And I know your bedspread matches the window treatments, but it's still not cute.
Yeah, it's not cute. Let's just go to Target and get white, and it'll be great.
Or nothing. Nothing is free, kind of like being clean.
Yeah.
So true, so true. That's something I wouldn't have thought about. That brings me into like things that drive you crazy in listing pictures. So like for me, I'm like, oh man, why couldn't they have just closed the toilet seat? You know, like why couldn't they have just closed the toilet seat when they took the picture of that bathroom?
You took mine.
I have a really
That was mine. I love that one.
I know.
Or the fur on the toilet. Take your toilet fur down.
the
Oh
cover.
my gosh, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Or even the rugs around the toilet. Like that's so old
the
school.
horseshoe shape.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's so old school. Get
Oh,
rid of that.
I have one. Ooh.
Okay.
Family pictures.
Yep.
If you are going to list a house and you're going to put your pictures up online, please take your giant portrait of you and your family off of your fireplace
People
mantle.
are nosy too. Like
Yes.
there are so many times. That's a good one that I'll actually flip through the
she
listing
doesn't look like
pictures.
that anymore either.
I realize that I'm more heavy this time around.
I'll flip through the listing pictures and be like, whose house is that? Oh, I know them. You know, it's like,
Yep.
I don't want to know them. You don't
It's
want
kinda
people to know
creeper
you.
vibes. Like,
Yeah.
just
Plus, it
make it a
makes them
house.
be able to visualize themselves in the home instead of like thinking it's somebody else's home when they come in, right?
yeah.
I agree with that, Sky.
That's one of the things too. Like when my house was listed, there was one picture in the bathroom and it was like the baby in a bubble bath. And I was like, this is so adorable. But also I would never put that online. I felt so bad. I was like, well,
Yeah. Other things that drive you crazy in a listing pictures. Because what do you look for when you're doing listing pictures? You do the listing pictures. Do you hire a professional
don't.
photographer for that?
We have a professional photographer.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
So,
so-
what do they look for? Like, what are some things that are big no-nos?
Well, I go in before the photographer gets there, so the toilet seat is a
she's
huge
like, I
renovation.
screen everything. I make sure.
Here I am. Like, this is what we're doing. No, it's not that bad. So I'll start with, the floors. Like, a lot of times people are like, I can clean my floors after. I'll give an allowance. Like, seriously, your carpets, you can see the dirt on them, like the grossness.
Like professional cleaning.
Yeah, let's
carpet cleaning. Okay.
Clean your carpet. Other things, like, I look for countertops. Like, less is best is my motto.
Yeah.
So in doubt, just get rid of it. A few things on the countertop are one thing, but like you don't need your toaster, your Keurig, your coffee pot,
Yep.
your microwave.
Yeah.
So
All
Your
those kitchen
KitchenAid mixer.
appliances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so taking those things off the counter, I think, is good. In the bathroom, back to the bathroom, like your towels. You don't need to be matchy for sure, but like have them normal. We don't
Like a
need-
rainbow beach towel next to a solid blue. That might not fly.
Correct. Yeah, that's lovely for a child, and I get that's the child's bathroom, but we
Yeah.
could maybe just do a lovely pink or
Right.
a blue instead.
Yeah.
So paint colors too. Like you guys know a lot about paint and are super smart. Like what's on trend and what looks good. And people always say, "Oh, they're going to repaint it anyway." Well, just paint it a neutral color.
Agree.
Yep.
And I get it. Paint, used to be super cheap, but get a good paint so it looks nice, so it doesn't chip for the next person, and just take the time and paint it.
Yeah. Agree. 100%. You walk in, it's like a lime green bedroom that their kid had and I mean, something like that's a huge turnoff for a lot of people.
Well, then it's like whenever you move, there's already this like laundry list of things that you have to do, and it's just like another thing you got to add to the list. And if it were done, it's kind of like, oh, I can breathe and like unpack for a little bit before I actually dive into doing all the stuff to this house. So I feel like it's just kind of a nice gesture too. It's going to be more appealing for your photos and everything else.
And then, like, I want to know about men versus women, what they're looking for when they're purchasing a home. Because, like, as a woman, I think, actually, I'm going to let Kayla answer this first. But men versus women, what they're looking for when purchasing a home.
That's a good one. I would say a lot of times I could go look with the female before I take the male, because the female is the decision maker.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's true.
Yeah. So a garage is a big thing. And I've learned as a female in Minnesota, like, I'm kind of a garage girl too.
I'm totally a garage girl. Like I want to be able to like pull into the garage and not have to like fight all the snow build up in the mornings before work and everything. Like,
Or have like 3 inches to get out.
Yeah.
Enough
That's where
room.
I'm at right now. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so, guys look for garages, whether it's, a female likes an attached garage, a guy likes that detached big shed shop. That's huge in our area. We all have those 4-wheelers, the snowmobiles,
the
those
toys. Yeah.
those man treasures. So that would be something I think a guy looks for versus a girl would be the garage. Also like an entertaining area, maybe separate for the guys to hang out and play
The man
cards. And,
cave.
do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A woman clearly likes a nice kitchen.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Kitchen or that tile beautiful bathroom like what you guys are good at at doing, and people
Yeah.
don't have those. They need
Right.
help with those.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as value goes, now we've got this question quite a bit of time, or a lot of times is what I'm trying to say. But investing in a kitchen renovation and a bathroom renovation, would you say that although they're the two most expensive areas in a home to probably renovate, that they're also the most important as far as, bringing value to the home and, getting it ready to be listed or getting a higher price for that listing?
Agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you spend so much time in your kitchen. I mean, and people coming over, and there's different ways to do it. You can be edgy and do something that is, more on trend, or you could just do something neutral if you're going to resell your home and not necessarily going to be there forever.
Right. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I mean, for me as a woman, I would look for a kitchen would be absolute first thing, because we do know that it's expensive to renovate a kitchen. So going in there and knowing that you have to tackle that would be kind of a downer, or something that would maybe make me back away a little bit and be like, okay, I don't want to put, 30 grand to 50 grand into a brand new kitchen immediately. But a bathroom I can see more as like, oh, well, I can do that. That wouldn't be as bad, obviously not as expensive, but it's nice to have a nicer bathroom for sure, for a woman to be able to, see herself in. Yep.
Agree. What do you think?
Well, when I bought my house, those were the two areas that I really wanted to do. And I felt like if I was going to invest the money, it would be something where it's like worth doing right. So I started with my kitchen. And for me, I think that's the number one thing. Like, you walk into a home and let's just say a lot of things are outdated. But if you have like this, we've talked about on other podcasts before, is like, if everything is honey oak in your house and you have this one relief in your home, it should be where everyone congregates and it's pretty, it's presentable, it feels fresh. That should be your kitchen. For me personally, that's kind of what I think. Bathrooms, I agree with Sky. Like, it's something where it's like not as big as of a feat to tackle. I feel like also too, that's something where you can kind of do it in phases if you wanted to. Whereas a kitchen, it's like you're functioning in there every single day. You are stopping all the cooking in your home if you're going to have to remove all that stuff and then put it back in after your cabinets removal, replacement, or even let's just say it's countertops. Because I had dark wood countertops, and then I had like terracotta laminate counters, and it was like, no.
Yeah, so she
It was
freshened
really,
it
really
up
bad.
and brightened it up and brought some life and color and pattern into that space, and now it's
Nice.
a whole new kitchen. It's miraculous how much you brighten it up in that space. Second homes in Detroit Lakes, I know we have a lot of those, especially like us as designers. We're constantly working. I feel like the majority of our work is from people that are out of town, that have a second lake home here, or are moving up from Minneapolis, or coming from Fargo. Do you see that a lot too, as far as homes being built and listed and sold are generally from people that are coming from a different area other than Detroit Lakes?
For lake homes, yes, a lot of it.
And so what areas would you say that they're coming from generally?
Your Grand Forks, Fargo, and Minneapolis. And it just kind of depends. Like, it seems in our area, like, depending upon what lake it is, you congregate to, like, if you're from Minneapolis, you might go to a certain lake, or a Grand Forks, you might have friends on XYZ lake, so you want to be there too. So it is interesting that you do find at different lakes, similar people from their hometowns, or North Dakota or Minneapolis
I have
area.
a question on that. Okay. So how often does it actually happen when there's nothing for sale, hardly ever, right, on the lake that you want to be on, that somebody would approach you and say, hey, are you interested in selling your property?
As a real estate agent, they want me to see if they want to sell that
Yeah.
particular. It happens.
Does it happen?
Yeah.
Like, how often would you say?
I've worked on 3 different ones so far this year.
So you just approach the homeowners and
Wow,
say, hey, I
3
have
this year
somebody
already.
that,
Yeah.
already this year?
Yeah. You can't find something. So
right.
you have a specific, and this isn't, one of them wasn't a lake home, but you have a specific something you're looking for. Like, I want to be in that area.
Yeah.
So Kayla, what can you do to help me? And then we try to figure that out.
See if they'd be interested in selling, or okay.
Because-
Have you ever gotten anyone that's like, yeah, I'll sell?
Actually, it's funny you say that. I had marketed to an area that somebody wanted to buy in that area, and I have an appointment next week to list their property. So it wasn't immediate. That was like a year later.
Sure.
Wow.
So that buyer isn't any longer interested.
It's almost like extra
It's
networking
weird.
for you too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll go ask them, and then if they
Sure.
decide to sell in a year, maybe they'll call me. Yeah.
Which
That's
is unique,
perfect.
which
Right.
is kind of fun. I'm excited for that one, just
Yeah.
because that was like a year later that I was
Yeah,
like,
full
wow.
circle.
Yeah, I don't have anybody for you now, but and once you sometimes you're more of an expert on one lake lake one area than another area too. So that's kind of unique. Like people may call you because, oh, I see your sign. Like, hey, you've sold stuff there.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So do you say, like, I know you're on Big Floyd Lake. Is that correct?
Yep.
You do a lot of listings and stuff on that lake. I know there's barely anything that ever comes up for sale on that lake.
Yeah, we had one, this winter,
Did you?
actually. Yep, we were going to wait to put it on, and I'm like, don't wait. You know, obviously our market is so seasonal that, you know, usually when the snow goes away, people put them on, but there are still people looking, which is unique. Like if you were waiting for a certain lake for something to come for sale, it doesn't really matter if you have snow on the ground or not, because you know what
they're
that
gonna
beach looks
snatch
like.
it.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth?
So,
Right.
yeah, different lakes offer.
So just out of curiosity, what's the furthest away somebody that you've worked with lives that purchased a second home here?
A second home.
Or even just moved?
New York.
New York.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yep.
To come back and forth. I was
Sure.
going to say that's probably the farthest.
Yeah, it's interesting because we get people from all over the place, and I just think it's a really cool area because Detroit Lakes is, I feel, growing. And once you guys say that, it's definitely growing. I know that there's housing issues and people are having a hard time, you know, finding a home to live in because there's not a whole lot on the market right now. Do you see that improving this spring?
I wish more builders would build. We need that because without new development, new product coming on the market, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
You know, and interest rates have played a factor in that, you know, what we're seeing is, you know, your death, your divorce, which is sad, relocating, you're not selling. So we need people to sell to get to that next level. Or what we are seeing is people remodeling and staying put, which is great for you guys. I mean, you know,
we've
that
been
you make
doing
it
a
more
lot of
homey.
renovations lately, for sure. As far as, you know, renovations versus new construction, I totally agree. I think that in order for Detroit Lakes to continue growing, there needs to definitely be some new construction homes getting put up.
Yeah, we need
Everything's
that.
gotten, you know, obviously more expensive during the last few years, and interest rates, like you mentioned. And I think that's a major hurdle for Detroit Lakes to get over in order to continue that growth.
I will say, though, to my understanding, though, in Minnesota and in our area in general, a lot of the property is privately owned. Although it may not be something that's actually like there's a builder who owns it, they're going to develop it kind of thing. It's like people are like kind of like holding on to this land and then maybe like waiting to build their own properties or things like that. But I mean, not necessarily like selling to developers for that land.
Yeah, and just having it in the family or passing it down, or to find a huge parcel of land to build, you know, not even huge, 20 acres to build a nice house. You can't find that close to town anymore.
No.
That's a
you
rarity.
can't. It is, for sure. Listing pictures, we talked about that, but I want to say one thing that I always do and what I love doing, like one of my passions, is even though I'm not looking to sell or move or whatever, I love looking through listing pictures. And I love just kind of scrolling through and being like, oh, this home looks nice. And I'll start flipping through the pictures. And then I'm like, oh, I would do this and I would do that. And I would knock this wall down. And like, I come up with this whole like design plan in my head of everything I would do to that house to make it look better and open it up. And I'm like, man, why didn't they just knock that wall down? Or why didn't they just replace this flooring? Or, oh, the flooring so broke up. I do all one flooring throughout the whole area. Just different things like that. Do you guys do the same thing? Or
I look at them and think, you know, what would you change?
Right.
My favorite is like when somebody takes like their own pictures and you can see their picture in the mirror.
yeah,
Like, have you ever seen that?
yeah, totally.
I have totally seen that. And
what
it's
are you
like
doing?
they have the wide stance, like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
really focusing right now.
Or like lean a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's tacky.
I would say,
Or
go
look
ahead.
at and just look at the same things we discussed, like your counter, your flooring, your you know, your paint color.
Right.
I do that, but I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not the designer.
Yeah, I'll
to
go
see
through and like make a
vision.
whole design plan for each house I look at.
Yeah, see,
It's
that's
pretty
awesome.
crazy. And then Troy's like, why are you looking at the real estate market? We're not moving. I'm like, I know, but I just like looking for fun. I'll look all over the place. I'll look in Palm Springs, California, Idaho. I'll just go look at all these different homes. And it's what's so cool is that every place obviously has its own vibe, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Detroit Lakes. We were talking about this the other day, Kayla, and you can probably agree with this. Every lake around here has its own vibe. So you go up to like Pickerel Lake, it's all very lodgy,
Woodsy.
lots of woodsy. But you go down to Pelican or Detroit, it's a whole different vibe. Like you got all these different lakes that have totally different vibes, and that's what makes Detroit Lakes, I think, such a cool spot because you can be rustic or you can be modern or contemporary. And more of that style is coming into DL, which is super fun.
I like that you say that because I think people are crazy when I say, like, if you go to this lake, like example, Pickerel was great because I'm like, the trees. like the outside, like the nature compared to here, and
Yep.
then be able to have that different
You
design
feel more
flair.
tucked away for sure.
Yeah, like even Floyd versus Detroit, there's a different
There's like a
vibe.
calmness to Floyd, I
there
would
really
say.
is. There really is. And, going down to Pelican, and I mean, there's just over Little Toad. I mean, it's all so different. And there's so many different places that people can settle, but there's only so much lake property. So as far as that goes, do you foresee the lake property? Let's talk about this, because we know that it's gone up from, like, we purchased our first one in 2013 and it was down here, but now it's up here.
It's crazy.
And is that going to continue?
Well, historically, in my 17 years in the business, like, it has, slowly went up, as you stated, every single year. If you own something, historically, it'll continue to go up. Yes, lake property or just normal residential. So I hope the values of things,
Right.
do keep going up for everybody's sake, economy and homeowners.
Yeah. So Kayla,
I don't think they're going to drop. That's what I mean.
Yeah, okay,
If
well,
people are
good.
waiting.
Good, because,
no, I don't think they're going to drop.
that's good.
Hopefully
There's
interest rates go
There's
down
only
more,
so much
though,
lake
too.
property. Yeah, hopefully interest rates will go down so we can.
Yeah, don't
Start.
count on it.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything to add, or do you have any other tips for anybody watching that you would say about this upcoming spring, or?
No, a couple. Just, take the time. If you don't know what you're doing in your home with paint colors, flooring, what looks good, obviously you need to connect with you guys. I'm not the expert necessarily to know exactly what looks good, but you guys know that, and
thank
what's
you.
on trend.
And it is important to hire an interior designer when you're doing your home, because most people can't visualize, or they don't have a plan in place. And that's what we're here to help you guys with. And obviously Kayla's here to help you as well and give you those tips and tricks for getting ready to list, or even if you have, any questions. She's always been super helpful, and Roxanne's called her on a few things. I've called her on a few things. And she's always right there, very on the phone, ready to go. You are a motivated girl. I really like that about you. I like your passion. And a hard worker as well. So we thank you so much for joining us today at the Design Duo podcast with Kayla from Keller Williams Realty, the Red Shoed Realtor. And everybody have a great week. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.